Welcome to the Software Process and Measurement Cast number 656. I'm Tom Cagley, your coach. Today, we stay with an agile product and entrepreneurship theme with a conversation with Rahul Aggarwal. We discuss building a business and products to support the gig economy and entrepreneurship. Rahul provides excellent advice on recognizing market needs, experimentation, pivoting when necessary, and building a business. Rahul's bio: being awarded as the Rising Entrepreneur of the Year in 2019 and Entrepreneur 35 and Under in 2020, and Asia's Most Promising Business Leaders 2021 by Economic Times, Rahul Aggarwal has co-founded Designhill and created a unique online marketplace to overcome the challenges faced by business owners in outsourcing high-quality creative solutions and designers who have been looking for creative freedom. He is a serial entrepreneur, passionate marketer, investor, advisor, and a firm believer in the concept of constant learning and growing. His astounding digital knowledge and impregnable business skills have led Designhill to be acknowledged as the Creative Startup of the Year 2019 by Entrepreneur Magazine. Are you ready to talk design, entrepreneurship, the gig economy, and more? It's time for the interview. Rahul Aggarwal, welcome to the Software Process and Measurement Cast.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here. Really looking forward to speaking with you today.
I'm looking forward to this too, and this is a little outside of the norm for my listeners, and that's why it's so exciting to me that we can look at another industry, talk about things that are impacting ours, and perhaps find the synergy between the two. Let's focus today on the whole idea of the gig economy. Even though my listeners are predominantly in the software space, I think there's a lot of similarities about what's going on in the market that you and Designhill are in and the software market. What's driving this?
I think it's the last year, isn't it? I mean, that's really, the focus has changed from, splurging money and, growing businesses to conserving what they have. And I think that's one of the key fundamentals as to why businesses are now prioritizing their work into things that, matter more. And gig economy comes and plays a role there because, you sort of want to outsource the work that is not a priority for a business and give it to somebody who can do a great job at it, right? And that's one of the fundamental reasons why gig economy, as what it is today, is growing at the rate at which it is today. Because whether it's a software company or a traditional business, a restaurant, everybody wants to focus on the things they're good at. And today, we live in a very globalized world. The internet penetrations are at an all-time high. People are now used to working online. The fear of not interacting with somebody on a one-to-one basis, face-to-face, that has sort of gone out of the window now. And, they're getting used to getting things done online. Nobody would have thought about 10 years back that, you could get services done online. You probably buy a t-shirt or, you want to buy a physical product. Yes. E-commerce. Yes, you do that. But when it came to getting things done like SEO or, getting a piece of code written by a freelancer somewhere sitting in, Europe, that was not something people were, pretty comfortable with. But now, a lot of that is changing now. And I think that's one of the key reasons why the gig economy is really flourishing. And a lot of businesses are paying a lot of attention to it because it not only helps their top line, but also their bottom line.
Interesting. Do you think the gig economy, though, requires intermediaries to work well? Your company, Designhill, is sort of an intermediary, right? It matches practitioners with organizations. You make the market, in essence. Is that a requirement to make this work well?
I think it's a necessity more than a requirement. But why? Because, though it may not look so, difficult, and, we try our best to make things look very simple and, on the platform and somebody visits our website, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, right? I mean, in terms of whether if from the very basic thing about screening the freelancers, the professionals who are working on our platforms, onboarding them, just looking at their experiences, their skill sets, filtering them and matchmaking them with the customer's requirements. On the other side, when a customer is looking for a particular solution, understanding their requirements digitally on a website, getting their briefs right. And after that, not only getting the requirements and understanding how the process works, but also providing a complete interface. Now, for example, with us, with Designhill, we are a design-focused platform. It's even more complicated because, when somebody creates a design for you, it has to be submitted. The whole process is online. The interaction takes place online. We've created tools that enable users to give feedback on the designs, on different parts of the designs on the platform itself. There is real-time communication, and there's a lot of hand-holding that is required, right? So we sort of not only do the function of matchmaking, but we are also facilitating the entire collaboration between a customer and a user, right? And a freelancer or a service provider. And that is really important. And I think that sort of leads to where we are in terms of the success that we've had, because we take that. We're just not a transactional business where we're just doing a matchmaking and then they go offline. We are actually facilitating the entire process on our platform. And I think that's the reason why the importance of intermediaries or marketplaces, as we call ourselves, is growing and is increasing day by day. Because, we understand the user behavior, we understand the problem areas, we've created solutions for those. And that is why, people have such a high success rate with, using platforms like us.
So historically, whether it's, and I'll sort of tell a personal story. My wife is a graphic designer and has been for a long time. Multiple magazines, lots of things, but spent a lot of years in the freelance market. And I know a lot of friends who've struck out with their own shingle, especially since there are a number of layoffs that are happening because of the world we live in, the COVID world we live in, as organizations downsize. So they put out their own shingle and try to freelance themselves without an intermediary or someone to make the market. So I think while that might have been an effective tool a few years ago, and we won't talk about how many years ago that was, the world has changed. Is this just because technology allows it, or is there, do you think it's all technology that's making this happen, or is there a different rethink in terms of how people approach the freelance or gig economy market?
I think it's a bit of both. Firstly, because with technology, obviously without technology, as I said earlier, internet penetration, the tools that we've created, it would not have been possible, say, a few years back or 10 years back, right? I mean, how would you really communicate with somebody in all the way in Brazil or India or Australia? I mean, the time differences would be so much. The language barriers might be there. The internet might not work properly. The broadband bandwidths might not be good enough for all of that. So technology, yes, I think that is definitely an enabler, and that has made it all possible.
So is it more than just technology? Is it a change in attitude, a change in people?
Yeah. The whole mindset among businesses, entrepreneurs has also changed, because, now they've sort of started realizing that it's not possible to do everything in-house, because, you cannot have an expert for every particular subject or particular domain that, improves your business or grows your business. You can't have everybody in-house, and you can't have everybody available locally, right? So if you have somebody who's able to do a great job at a fraction of a price somewhere else in the world, companies are now willing to take that leap of faith, or are willing to take that chance on them, and that is where platform like ours, Designhill, or any other marketplace really come to the fore, because we sort of create that ecosystem. We build that trust for the customers as well as those freelancers, because we are there not only as a matchmaking platform but also as an intermediary and an escrow, We ensure the quality is delivered. We ensure that the money is paid on time. We ensure that the communication is seamless and easy. So therefore, it's sort of, wouldn't it be difficult for you to just blindly trust somebody you don't even know, you've not seen their faces, you don't know how they look, and to just give them hundreds of dollars to get some work done. So when you have a platform like ours who've served hundreds and thousands and millions of customers, that we are not running away with your money. We are going to be there, and we are going to make sure that you get what you paid for. And I think that's really important, and that is why you need to have platforms like this. And this is the reason why, as I stated earlier, because businesses now know that they have access to quality professionals, not only locally, but from around the world through platforms like this. That is why the whole mindset has also changed. So, that's the answer for it.
What got you to the point of making this leap of faith yourself and becoming an entrepreneur?
I think becoming an entrepreneur was something that, was probably ingrained in me. I wouldn't like to say it, but it's probably genetic with me, because I'm like a third generation entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. His father was an entrepreneur. So, it's a funny incident. When I was 10 years old, I would have a school notebook, and my teacher caught me writing this particular line once, and it stated that I want to be the richest man in the world. So not that I'm implying that I am going to be, or I am, but the whole idea was that I wanted to do something big, and I wanted to build a legacy, and I wanted to do all of that. But as far as Designhill is concerned, it was something that me and my younger brother Varun, we started together. And it sort of came out of the need that we had. And it was it's a pretty interesting story, because, I'm the elder brother, and I came back from university and I joined our family business. So I had this whole idea of being professional and looking professional, and, to have a persona and branding and all of that. And I tried to genuinely, get our branding right, to have a whole, professional look for our businesses and everything. And I really struggled with getting decent designers, and, I spoke to a few agencies, freelancers, and nothing really convinced me on that. Either it was the price that I had to pay, or the quality that I was getting, or the number of options that I was being offered. And on the other hand, my younger brother Varun has actually always been a very creative guy. And this guy, he was always participating in, design competitions from his school time. And so he was doing freelancing as a designer when he was in university in Manchester, UK. And he was having a, pretty hard time getting good clients, building trust with clients, communicating with them, because, back then there was no Designhill. So you had to communicate with customers via email and, all of that. So when he came back from university, we actually sat together, and, we were just discussing the issues that we were having. And it was almost like, we were looking at the two sides of the marketplace, and both of us knew exactly what were the problems on both sides, as a freelancer, designer, creative professional, and as a business and entrepreneur. And I think it was just then that we just decided that, this is a problem not only in India, but all over the world. This is a problem that actually needed to be solved. And we just, took that leap of faith pretty much then. And we just started Designhill.
I would suggest that, and a number of my very close listeners, people that I know well, are in the process of either joining the gig economy or putting their shingle out as an entrepreneur, building a business. More than you can argue that a gig economy is just building your brand. Others are trying to build larger businesses than just individual. What two attributes? If you were to boil it down, you say you got to have these two attributes to survive as an entrepreneur, what would those be?
One of the first ones would be the willingness to accept failure. I think as an entrepreneur, being ready to, try and fail at the same time is really important, because, entrepreneurship is really dynamic. The whole business scenario is dynamic. Things change every day, every week, every month. And as an entrepreneur, you don't know what all you're going to be, trying, and, all the things that you'll have to get your hands into. And so therefore, it's really important for a person to be willing to accept failure. I think that's really important. When I mean willing to accept failure, I don't mean that you fail and then you sit down on that, but then you have to get on and try another. I mean, that's what we we actually speak a lot about within our organization and within our different teams, that we really encourage people to try different things, because until unless we try something, we don't know whether it's worked for us or not. If it's not worked for us, we can cross it out and we can move on to the next thing. At least we know that we tried that, right? So as an entrepreneur, I think it's fundamentally very, very important, and you should embrace failure more than anything, because success would come when it has to come, and it's really not in your hand. So that's one. And I think the second thing is that you have to persevere a lot. You have to be a good manager. You have to persevere with everybody, in fact, with yourself, with your team, with your failures. Perseverance is something that you have to be a little bit stubborn about it, because a lot of people will come with a lot of opinions. A lot of people will give you a lot of good advice, bad advice, and you have to be a judge of things, and so perseverance is important. And I think an ability to embrace failure on a daily and a weekly basis, I think that is also really important, because I think without these two things, entrepreneurship, it won't happen. As that's my opinion.
When did you actually figure out that you had the right idea? I mean, people have lots of ideas. When did you just recognize that this was going to actually work?
I think for the longest period, I thought it was not going to work, because we just couldn't get the right customers, and we waited for days and weeks to get a single customer in the initial months, and it was really difficult. What led me to believe that it was the right idea was because I felt that from my own personal experience, I knew this was a problem. From my brother's experience, I knew this was a problem, right? And we could see the whole world. So what we really believed in was that, it's a genuine problem that needed to be solved. We just need to figure out how to solve it. So it was never a question for us that, okay, this is not the right idea. The feeling was there because we were really struggling, and we were, not able to get the money in, and, it was really hard. It was really hard time initially, but the faith was quite, unwavering in the fact that, we knew we had the right idea. And I think, and ideas evolve. See, we've been doing this for 5 years now, 5.5, 6 years now. Time flies. And we started off the platform as a single service. Today we have 6 services. What we thought of doing with Designhill, we've grown much more from that. We have a DIY tool. We've gotten into AI and machine learning with design. We've gotten into printing. We're a complete design to print platform. We've served customers like Microsoft, SAP. We've printed products for companies. We've served work from home moms. So, so we never thought we were going to be doing all of these things. So, you have to believe in your idea. You have to have a vision for it. I think that's important, because ideas, I get ideas every day. So many ideas come through my mind, but the vision has to be big, because only if the vision is big, then, you can pivot your idea, you can change your thinking, you can add, different dimensions to it. So that's what it is.
The software side of it. So, the concept, the idea, all that is one thing. Did you and your brother build all this? Did you find a way to outsource that? How did you go about that part?
Actually, we did outsource it. So I'll give you my background. So I'm a chemical. So I'm a chemical engineer by my graduation, and then I did my MBA. Right. My brother is a computer science engineer, but he never built a platform this complicated or anything like that. So when we actually started, and I meant that when I said we took a leap of faith when we started this, because we actually went and outsourced the initial development of the platform to a agency, a company. And, we actually spent a good bit of time with them, and a reasonable amount of money that we initially, got from our family and friends. And it was a disaster. They just couldn't, if somebody has to develop a single website, they could do it as 1-pager or 2-pager. But this was a platform, it was a marketplace, and nobody had thought of a platform like this in India. It doesn't exist in India even today. We were building for the world, right? So then what we had to do was we actually had to then go out and hire people, programmers, developers, who we didn't know how to interview. We didn't know how, any bit of that of the coding. And I mean, I'm a chemical engineer, as I said. So, there was no way I could know what a C++ was, a Java was, and all of that. So we basically got in touch with people in the industry who are experts in this. And then we asked them for help in hiring people. So that's why, the initial bit was a real struggle for us, because we had to build our team. Luckily, we have over 130 people today, amazing people, to be really honest with you. It's a decent team that we have, and we've tried to build a great culture within our organization. And I think now we can build anything. So, we've built 6 services under Designhill in the last 6 years. And even today, I cannot code, but I can read. I can sort of infer, I can infer what people are doing on their laptops when I have to. But yeah, so that's what it is.
I don't think anybody would want me to code ever again, so that's okay. I can still read it, but I wouldn't want to code it. Rahul, this has been marvelous. If you woke up tomorrow morning, somebody gave you your morning beverage of choice and a magic wand and said that you could solve any 2 problems that affect the gig economy, what would those be? And why?
I think 2 problems that affect the gig economy. I think the number one would be that people need to think a little bit more highly of gig economy workers, in the sense that they're professionals. They're actually people who are willing to give you quality work for a reasonable price, right? But don't expect them to just do it for free, or, don't think that it's cheap work.
Yeah, what is it that people think that they get free consulting or free work from people?
Because when the whole idea of gig economy was conceptualized, services were offered at $5 a piece. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to the name of the company and all of that, because it's not nice. But I think that sort of created that initial impression, that, you can get cheap services and you get something for just £5 if you just go online and hire a gig economy worker. But that's changed now. You have people with experience, with degrees, with tremendous amount of and quality, and they're able to give you. They'll give you great work at a much reasonable price if you are willing to trust them and work with them. So I think that's probably one of the things that I would really like to change. The second would be this. I don't want to say that I don't want people to have full-time employees anymore, but I would just like to say that there's a lot of great talent available out there, and people if they're slightly more willing to experiment, I think they'll be surprised. They'll be pleasantly surprised, because no matter what it is, whether it's design, what we offer, but also SEO or web development, or copywriting, or even any kind of work, I think there are really great people out there all over the world who are actually taking that gamble, and who are taking that leap of faith in putting their lives out to help people and work for people around the world. I think they deserve a chance, and I think people, if they are given that chance, I think that will be really great.
Rahul Aggarwal, how would people continue the conversation? How would they get in touch with you?
So, though I'm not the most social person, in the sense that I'm not on Instagram, and I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not on any other platform except LinkedIn. I mean, I like LinkedIn a lot, to be really honest with you, because I learn a lot from it. So I'm quite easy to find. All you have to do is type in my name with Designhill, space Designhill, and you'll probably find Rahul Aggarwal, which is me, on LinkedIn. And I know I'm quite accessible. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to help. I've invested in a lot of companies myself. So, I like to help people wherever I can, and I learn a lot from it as well. So I'm pretty easy to access on LinkedIn. And otherwise, we can find us on our website, which is www.designhill.com. We have 24/7 customer support live. So anybody, if they have any questions, or they actually can't reach out to me, they can actually reach out to our agents, and they'll get to me pretty much instantly, and I'll be able to get back.
And I'll have all of that contact information in the show notes. You've provided some great stories, some really good information to the Software Process and Measurement Cast listeners. At this point, I open up the platform for you to promote anything you'd like. So, the platform is yours. 2 to 3 minutes worth of a promo.
Thank you so much, Tom. Well, I don't really want to promote much, but I just want to tell people a little bit about what we do at Designhill. We help businesses, professionals, marketers, source quality graphics and also, merchandise. We do everything from design to print. We've served customers of all sizes and scales, from moms to multinational companies. And I think we have a solution for everybody. And we offer 100% money back guarantee as well. So we're quite confident in our services. So, I would be really happy and glad if any of your audience would like to try our service. And what I'll also like to propose is that, I'd like to share a few codes with you. So if, they can get whatever best possible discounts on our different services that we offer. And I would love to hear their feedback. If they actually like what we're offering.
Again, this has been really marvelous. Thank you for sharing your time. It has been marvelous. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Tom. It was a pleasure to be here, and it was really fun and wonderful talking to you today.
In Reread Saturday News, this week, we reread Chapter 1 of Monotasking by Stefan Nuttenberg. The chapter is titled Monotasking in a Nutshell. This chapter lays the foundation for translating the 5 axioms of monotasking, that was last week, into a simple, straightforward approach. Catch up on my experiment using the concepts of monotasking as part of the reread. This week, I'm going to work on using short lists and implementing both panorama queues and panorama sessions. Link in the show notes. Remember, buy a copy of the book, support the author, and if you buy it through the link, you'll also be helping the podcast. In upcoming events, ISMA 18 virtual conference this week, I will be hosting and being the MC. That's June 24th, 8 a.m. Eastern Time through 11:15 Eastern Time. Link in the show notes to get a ticket. It's free. There's PDUs and CEP credit if you're into those sorts of things involved. Be there. Listen to some really great speakers. On Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, the TMMI America will be doing a webinar, The Real Value of TMMI. This will be hosted and run by Mark Summers. I think Mark is a great speaker and a highly engaging person, so I think you'll enjoy this very much. Link again in the show notes. In the next Software Process and Measurement Cast, Soren Peterson, we talk teams, value streams, and leveraging Agile to improve how teams deliver value. We started with the definition of teams and then got into the practical nitty-gritty of defining value streams and coaching teams. If process improvement is a never-ending journey, why do so many people ask, are we there yet?